Greetings. I'm Kathy Green with Christian News and Interviews. And I'm going to come to you this morning with a question. Did you know that there's a soap opera going on here on YouTube? I'm not really into sports too much, but this soap opera has been so interesting. Every now and then a soap opera pops up on YouTube, and it's like everybody's following it. And so the soap opera that's going on right now, I'll refer to as Awakening a Sleeping Giant. And this soap opera includes Kwame Brown as the star and Charlemagne the God, Stephen A. Smith, Stephen Jackson, Matt Barnes, and Gilbert Arenas. Now, for those of you who've heard rumblings, but you're not sure what this is about, I'm going to read to you from SB Nation, and I'm just going to read a blurb to give you an idea of how this started. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The All the Smoke podcast is a long-running show hosted by former NBA players Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson. Last week, Gilbert Arenas was on the show as a guest, and he began sharing stories from his time as the star of the Wizards in the early 2000s. Brown's name came up during a section discussing how Arenas helped turn the woeful early 2000s Washington Wizards into a contender. Now, to be fair, Arenas began by seeming extremely sympathetic to Brown's entry into the NBA, highlighting how difficult it was to be entering the league as a teenager, being drafted by Michael Jordan, who had unrealistic demands of Brown as a rookie, even bullying him in front of teammates, and pointing out that Brown had the tools to be great, even comparing him to Anthony Davis. But circumstances got in the way. However, in making his point, Arenas used two phrases that served as a flashpoint for the beef. He called Brown a man-child, as well as a show pony. Two terms that were innocuous enough, considering the conversation, but seemed extremely disrespectful, considering the conversation launched off with Stephen Jackson clowning on Brown, mockingly saying he was the best number one pick of all time. Then immediately laughing at his own statement. Now, if you'd like to read that entire article, I'm going to actually post it below to make life easy for you. But I don't have time to read the whole article, and I'm sure you don't want me to sit here and read the whole article. What I am going to do is say this. People don't like bullies, and people don't like giants. And if you think about the story, I'm a born-again Christian, so of course I like to bring everything around to how can I compare this to Christianity in some way. This channel, again, is Christian News and Interviews, so I like to bring God into it or Christianity into it in some way. And so, I can't help but think about David and Goliath. And when you consider, if you read the whole story, you'll find out that people have been clowning Kwame Brown for years. And he's been quiet. He hasn't been responding, to his credit. But this was like awakening a sleeping giant, because Kwame was going about life, minding his business, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. And when you think about David and Goliath, how everybody was so afraid of speaking up or standing up or stepping up to Goliath. But little David said, you know what? I have no fear of you. You are, as far as I'm concerned, a piece of trash. You're not even saved. You don't even believe in God. He picked up that rock. He had 5 smooth stones, and it only took one to take Goliath out. And he did it. Just one. And so I can't help but compare that to Kwame, who, even though he's a giant of a man, he's about 7 feet tall, for years he had been acting like just an innocent person, because that's what he is. And he heard people talking about him and clowning him. But for years, he just, to his credit, was a sleeping giant. But this time he woke up. And I mean, he woke up in a way that is taking YouTube and non-YouTube by storm. Charlemagne the God stuck his mouth in it and put the man's business out in the street, clowning and really being disrespectful about this man's family, saying that his father killed somebody and two of his brothers killed somebody, and that has nothing to do with him. I don't know anybody who has a perfect family. I have a few people in my family who've done things that I'm not happy about, and I certainly wouldn't want people pulling it out of the closet and throwing it in my face. I've never hurt anybody. So I wouldn't want to be compared to family members, and therefore Kwame Brown shouldn't be compared to family members either. He's not responsible for what his family members does. But Charlemagne the God talked about the fact that there's some murderers in this man's family. That was below the belt. And so Charlemagne recently sent out a cease and desist letter. Why? Because Kwame Brown is fighting back. He is an awakened giant. He is fighting back. He let the world know, Charlemagne, you're not in a position to badmouth anybody, because I happen to know that you've been accused. You allegedly, at the age of 22, gave a young 15-year-old a pill that knocked her out. And while she was asleep, you did some things to her that no human should have done to them. That's allegedly. Charlemagne did. He worked with his lawyer and he copped some kind of a plea. So, is Charlemagne happy that that was put out into the street? No. Would it have been put out into the street had he not put this man's business out into the street? No. Kwame Brown is now fighting back. He's saying all kinds of things about all of them that is humiliating. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to stand up for yourself. Read the article that I'm going to put below. It might not be there immediately, but check back. And if you have a few minutes, just go on YouTube and the guy is hilarious. I wish he would stop all that cursing. But other than that, he is absolutely hilarious. Check it out. And let me know what you think. Sign below. And also make sure that you become a member. I'd love for you to be a member of my channel. So subscribe. Have a good day.